All right. Welcome everyone. Beav's World is back. It is Wednesday, June 11th, a couple days before Father's Day for those who are still fathers. I'll use that lightly, but for those who are dads, as always, respectable, as we should, obviously, for Father's Day. It's like Mother's Day. It's every day. We celebrate it once a year, but we all know Father's Day, Mother's Day is every day until the day that we pass. And even we're in the dirt, we're still mom and dads, no matter which way you look at it. So for those who are going to be celebrating it, enjoy the time with your dad if he's still alive. And if he has passed and moved on, always remember that it was because of him and your mom, the reason why we're all here, just like it is my dad. He's still alive. I'm very fortunate. But he's getting up there in age, and hopefully he gets to live to see 90 and maybe 91, 95, and he'll still be the person who he is, who just loves to have fun, tell jokes, and be the friendliest guy that you'll ever know. So happy early Father's Day to all, as we will not be around here for the weekend. But nonetheless, thanks to Beav coming back here. Jay, for those who don't know, and along with, let me see, who else do I have to thank around here? Obviously, I'll say it tomorrow, but for those who are tuning in, like Rick M, where he says, storming at the airport, power out, Silver Airways now shut down, and hello, Jane Angel. Yeah, I did hear that, Rick, that that airline shut down, but celebrating, and I'll mention it tomorrow morning on the Pete Shepard Show, 5 years of the company being around, the network. So Broad Street South, 5th year, we started during COVID, and it's funny because Beav, when I first started this, it was coming from Philly. I wanted to bring that Philly flair down to Tampa. And so the actual name, thank you, Rick, appreciate it. The actual name that I thought about before it became Broad Street South was Section 215. Now, if you go to Citizens Bank Park, that's one of the sections I used to love to be in, and then 215 also being the reference to Philly. And then there was a couple of names that were thrown up there, and then it became Broad Street South Sports Talk. And in the Broad Street South, I wanted Broad Street in there, and a friend of mine, his wife, said, why don't you call it Broad Street South since you're south of Broad Street? And it made sense, and it stuck. Well, then another friend of mine, John Barcher, came on the show, and he said, why don't you just cut it down to Broad Street South? And that's what it became, and that's what it's been. So the company, the mothership, guys, if you want to call it that way, is Broad Street South. And then we have, of course, the division of, which is Sports Radio 102.9 The Game, that you guys are able to listen to us if you download the app, in the same way with the Coastal Sports Network, because we are here in Florida, but we go from coast to coast. And therefore, that's how it all evolves. So 5 years, been very fortunate that I've been able to make this work up to 5 years. And now it's just time to hopefully collect checks. It would be nice. It would be a nice thing. But you know what? God is great. He's allowed me to be around here for 5 years. He's given me Beav and Pete. Soon Sheila, she'll be on with her new show.
Another moment of silence for that. Did you have me and Pete? Holy moly.
That too, but no, listen, it's been great. And they always say if you make it within the 5 years of your company, then you've made it. Now is just finding that way to be able to financially keep it around and just keep expanding from there. So, thanks to like USF and other folks that have given me the opportunity to team up and partner up with them. And I can't say enough for them. So lots and lots to get into as we're coming back to you guys live here. And football is always key. And it's amazing how some people, and I don't understand it to save my life, Steve.
I know where you're going to go with this.
Rodgers experience. When are people finally going to say, just mean what you say? It cracks me up that I heard somebody say today, oh, he already looks at midseason form. Really? He's only showed up for camp. He got married, didn't say anything to anybody. And he probably got married to an alien, no pun intended, to the alien. But really? You flash your ring up there? That's the latest ring that you've won? And then here now, no one knows who his wife is, by the way. None of us know. I mean, it could be Peace. It could be the sperm whale. I don't know what the hell it's going to end up being. But nonetheless, he's in Pittsburgh. And then they ask him how he likes Pittsburgh. He's like, well, there's mountains and there's trees and the bushes and the bees. Like, come on, bro. We're past that point. Whether you're going to be good or not, I already said it. Tomlin, good luck. Steelers are in the playoffs, and you guys are done for the season. But, you guys you'll sell out PNC Park. That's what you guys end up doing.
Okay, so, the first thing I think of when you're talking about Mike Tomlin is prayers for Mike Tomlin, first of all. They lost Najee Harris. Mm-hmm. They lost a lot of their offensive line. Now, George Pickens is nuts, but he can play.
Correct.
Now they're replacing with DK Metcalf, who's an adult who can play. their defense is good, but T.J. Watt and some of these other guys are disgruntled and they want their money. So it's really interesting to see. Rick, what game you want predicted? I see Rick. By the way, thanks for tuning in. What game? What week 1 game? Let me know and I'll predict it for you. And by the way, we're 3 months away. Things happen. You never know. But again, Aaron Rodgers, it's the cost of doing business. They don't have a quarterback. If you look at Aaron Rodgers the last 4 or 5 games with the Jets last year, he played pretty well. Go back and watch the Jacksonville game and some of the other games at the end of the year. That injury he has very tough to come back from. Okay, the Lions at Green Bay. I like the Lions. I think they match up well with Green Bay, and they have the last couple of years. Who's Philly playing? Oh, Philly's is Dallas. Oh, please, that's an inter-squad scrimmage for you, right? Angels. Is that who the Eagles are playing week 1? Dallas, right? And Africa, they're going to Africa, right? Or Brazil. Yeah. Where are they going? Where are they going? Brazil.
No, Brazil was last year. They're going to be at home. The home opener.
Oh, okay. So where's the Friday night game? Oh, the Ravens, right? Who's playing the Friday night game?
Kansas City was going to Brazil.
Yeah, that's the weirdo game. Yeah, I like the Lions and I like Philly, Rick. And Angel will tell you this. I was the guy who liked the Eagles early last year. He was turning on everybody because his boyfriend Sirianni was making him nuts.
That's right.
But and he still makes him nuts.
And he got an extension.
I know, but he's one of these guys where when things go bad, they'll fire him in 10 minutes because he's kind of the product of the system, not the other way around. You're asking me to predict the game in week 11, Rick. Rick, tell me who's on each team at that point. By that point, the Lions could have traded for Trey Hendrickson and Jalen Ramsey.
Sure
we don't know. It's week 11. The Lions had the best team in the league most of the year, and their entire defense got hurt, and then they got their asses kicked in the playoffs. Stuff happens. Angel's ready to fire his entire team in week 5.
Sure was.
This is a week-to-week league. Things happen. Pitchers had the greatest team in the history of the league, and they lost the goddamn Super Bowl. So, things happen. You never know what's going to happen. It's a week. Guys get injured all the time. You have the contract situations. Angel and I were talking about this before the show. It's really interesting. Hey, Rick, let me let you know another secret. Have you ever seen a casino go out of business?
Nope.
Why do you think that is, Rick?
Well, the only one, and it wasn't because of Trump, but down in Atlantic City, Jesus Christ, I'm throwing a brain fart.
The hotel, the Bellagio, one of the places in Vegas, maybe. Hotels.
The one in AC. Duncan, Dad, help me out here. Oh my God,
the Atlantic City, Trump Plaza.
Yeah, it was Trump Plaza, but I forget. Yeah. But anyway,
you're going back. No, that's a really good point that you're bringing up, by the way, because we're East Coast guys. We can talk about this, and this has nothing to do with them being the president of the United States, by the way.
There you go.
When Trump 40 years, Trump Taj Mahal. There you go. 40 years ago, Asia was trying to buy Atlantic City and take it over. And you know who stepped up and saved it? This is going to really hurt Bruce Springsteen. Donald Trump.
Yep.
Look it up. And that's why Atlantic City survived. And it's still doing okay. It's not great. And a lot of this is the online stuff. In Vegas, DraftKings and all this other, the particularly sports guys like us that do that type of thing. But also, everything's online and things have changed. We see this. We were talking about this the other day with Pete. The movie experience with Tom Cruise. That's why Tom Cruise is out campaigning. People don't go to theaters anymore. They do streaming. So society's changed. So it's interesting to see. But no, the Taj Mahal has worked out really well.
Yep, sure has.
So we get all see. It's nice to see Angel. Look at this. We have all these degenerate friends of the show that are all gamblers. They all know the casinos.
They do.
So I'm proud of these guys. It's later on today we're going to do strip clubs. So there you go, guys. Come on. So
there'll be tons of them, starting with cheerleaders, which is the biggest, most popular one down there in Philly.
I have no recollection of such a wonderful place, but it's I was. They told me they were taking me to church. We ended up somewhere else. I don't know where it was, but my grandmother's looking down on me from above, saying, "Good, good Jay, good Jay, good. There you go."
Yeah, I appreciate that, Rick. I gave up movies for Broad Street South. There you go.
See, Rick, that's a good answer.
Oh, speaking about, hold on, because Rick, before we get into the NFL stuff, Rick brings up a good point as far as movies. Have you seen? First of all, you have Netflix.
How can I say this without going to jail? I have access to it.
Okay, so that's fine. But you got to see. Have you seen the one where Shaquille O'Neal now is the president of Reebok and AI is the vice president?
I've heard about this, and I'm trying to remember. Back in the day, I thought Shaq had his own shoe? Wasn't he like the first guy to do his own shoe?
He did have,
And it bombed or something. Something happened.
yeah,
Because
because
remember, Reebok is based in the Boston area. It's like Taunton. And by
correct.
the way, this is crazy, but a big executive for them for years was Matt and Tim Hasselbeck's dad, Don, who just died recently. So
Really?
he was a big sneaker executive, yes, for Reebok.
Wow.
And he passed away. He just suddenly had a heart attack within like the last 6 months, and he died actually during the football season. So yeah, so that's interesting to me. AI I know was Reebok, because what happened was the reverse effect of when Jordan came in. Everybody was Converse, and then Jordan came in. He flipped a whole bunch of his buddies, led
Mhm.
by Patrick Ewing. And if you've seen this in Air, but then you had different guys like Tracy McGrady, some of these guys, Vince Carter, some of these guys. It was all different. Uh, yeah. Okay. See, Dunkin' Dad. See, that's why Dunkin' Dad's here. Dunkin', get a matcha latte for me. Good job. I see, and I'm doing this off the top of my head, by the way. And by the way, I barely do anything with basketball anymore. I'm not the basketball guy. I just don't have time. I don't have any time anymore. I barely have enough time to do what I do now
It's
with
true.
football, and hockey, and my various businesses.
No, that's
So, but
true. But no, you got to. If you haven't seen it yet, you got to watch it. I see
oh,
me watching Shameless on Netflix. Hey, I probably has.
I actually like Shameless because I like William H Macy.
He's a good actor.
The guy who was banging his teacher on the show. Lip.
Yeah, I think
Lip.
yeah.
Yeah, he's got three names in real life. Three name guy. He was one of the Von Erichs in the Von Erichs movie. He was I think he was Kevin, or no, he's Kerry. I think. Yeah, Shameless is awesome. Yes, really good show.
It is a good
Really
show.
good
But
show.
you got to
Really
see
good
the
show.
one. I got to remember if I remember the name of it, I'll put it up there before the end of the show. But he first of all, Shaq. For those who don't know, and if you don't know, I don't know where you've been living all these years. But the only thing he had mentioned was all he wanted was his name. His mom said, when you leave a legacy behind, the only thing you want to leave is your name. And so that's what he went with. And he's been with Reebok for many years and then decided
Yeah.
to become the president of the company. Now, AI is, he brought AI on board because AI was part of Reebok back in the day. But, there's a lot of us. Allen Iverson, after the Sixers, after the whole debacle, was loved once again in Philly. Is he loved more? He is loved more than Donovan. Donovan, number 5, will always love you. He just gets
Oh
on the nerves. But he,
no.
AI, he had to learn from a lot of mistakes. And unfortunately, when you surround yourself with an entourage that you think is going to
Yes,
be there
man.
when there's $0, that's when they all, just go away and they hang out with other people because now you have absolutely nothing. And then where he lived up in Ballackinwood,
Yeah.
a lot of people didn't like where he lived because they were saying there was parties, there was this, that, and the other. And I want to say 80% of it was not true. There was only one incident that was there at his house. And I don't even think, if I remember correctly from the story way back in the day, he wasn't even home. He was on the road when it had happened. And he had apparently had let someone go to the house and they did something that he specifically asked them not to do, even though he was the biggest hardhead that there was. But he wanted to let everybody know in that neighborhood that, yes, he might have been the only person that was different in the neighborhood, but he wanted to be well accepted and, well received. And he was for the most part until, again, the very end when he was just falling apart in Philly. But anyways, if you guys have not seen that series, you can learn a lot from Shaq. You can learn a lot from what Reebok is trying to do to kind of save their face all over again. And I didn't even realize until Shaq had brought it up, Reebok was never number 3, nor were they never number 1. And he said that's something he had loved for many years from Reebok. But the only time they went to number 3, I think it was like in 2001 or 2007, basically when they were sold and bought, by another company until Reebok just went ahead and cut ties and went back and bought their own company. So it's a really cool series. We were watching last night. I think we're up to like or series 5. There's 7 in total. As far as like episodes. So it's only one season, but broken up into 7 episodes.
Yeah, I mean, when we had Kathy on, she got me into Apple TV, which I bought my own, but with Ted Lasso, and which is great, and that's coming back too. But no, I'm all for these Netflix, and now that we're in baseball season, I have a little time. Both of my college teams are gone. Obviously, Clemson, and they just got a big portal guy today, in Michigan. But I mean, I'll be over at Michigan camps this summer. Allen Iverson was better than Michael Vick, and let me explain. There's a couple things. Allen Iverson was the best player ever in the history of the NBA at his height. Because you look at the people, he's under 6 feet, right? So Isaiah was like 6'1", Isaiah Thomas. Little Isaiah Thomas from the Celtics, God bless him with a broken hip. He was like the JV version of Iverson. When you go to games and you see people, and Bill Simmons talks about this all the time, there are certain players you don't understand unless you see them live, like Shaq's an obvious one. David Robinson was one. I've seen Michael Jordan live like 40 times, but it's still ridiculous. But you realize how small Allen Iverson is. And to be as good as he was, and he never, ever played with an ideal Robin the Batman. There's nobody, I can't even tell you who the second best player he played with was at the peak of his career. There's no Scottie Pippen, James Worthy, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Michael Jordan. Magic Johnson. Larry Bird, Kevin McHale, Robert Parrish. Rodman was on a bunch of these different teams. David Robinson, Tim Duncan, Jerry Stackhouse. You just really put Jerry. Hey Duncan, who would you rather have, Jerry Stackhouse or Scottie Pippen?
Scottie Pippen.
How about Kevin McHale or Scottie Pippen?
Kevin McHale.
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar or Jerry Stackhouse. I'm sorry, I should have kept McHale and Stackhouse.
Yeah.
But yeah, Stackhouse, he's a shooting guard who likes to shoot the ball all the time, and he does nothing else.
That's it.
And by the way, you go look up what happened, why Stackhouse got traded. Allen might have had him beat up on a team plane. That's a famous story, which Angel probably knows.
A little something about it.
It might have happened. Yeah, that actually happened. They got Stackhouse was shooting the ball too much. So Iverson had him beat up on the plane.
Yeah, and it was, what was it, last week? I'm almost sure it was like last week sometime. There were, because ESPN has nothing else better to do, but they brought up before game 2 was like the best of game 3s or something like that. And they showed the step over from Allen Iverson over on Ty Lue when we were playing the Lakers. So that was, of course, I would have loved.
I thought that was in game 1 in the Philly Lakers.
It was in game 1. But for some reason, I don't know why, but they brought.
Because they won game 1 and then they got swept.
Yeah, pretty much. I know.
Yeah,
that hurt. I didn't want to talk about it again, but I've had.
No. Do a draft for the two teams. Allen Iverson would be the 176ers guy of the first 9 guys picked. They got Kobe and Shaq.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, who was the 4 on that team? Who was the 4? Was it Ori? You have Derek Fisher, Kobe, Shaq. Who were the other forwards and people on that team? That was the weird thing about those Lakers teams, because it was Shaq and Kobe and then a bunch of role players, very similar to what Michael Jordan had, where Jordan would have him and Pippen, and then either Rodman and Horace Grant, and then 18 fouls at center, and then and then like 3 or 4 other role players got Jim Paxson, B.J. Armstrong, Jed Bushler, those type of guys. So they had a kind of a form of Ron Harper, form. And by the way, Ron Harper might have been on the Lakers at that time.
He might think so.
So no, it was a very weird team. You go back and watch Stacey King. Yeah, there's another guy. Go watch. Say that name in front of Jordan, and he'll be thrown out of a building. What a waste. He and Brad Sellers. People thought Jordan was mean to Scotty Burrell. Say Stacey King or Brad Sellers to him and see what he says. He actually respected Scotty Burrell. I mean, Craig Hodges. There you go. So Craig Hodges is a good 3-point shooter. So that was about it.
He's better than Angel Reese. Oh, did that come out really?
Hold on. Good luck. Angel Reese in the gym for an hour. She couldn't score 10 points.
Sure couldn't.
So, that's an embarrassment. Euro Jordan, Kukoc, yeah.
There was a friend of mine. So now that Duncan Dad brings it up, Tony Kukoc had, I got to think back here. Going back to 2000, maybe 2001. So a good friend of mine, his sister was married. And when I mean, they always say there's a twin in this world. Everybody has a twin, right? Even if they weren't biological, but everybody has a twin. Her sister was married from a guy from Italy who, don't pay attention. That's Dylan with his jokes. He got me one time, so he's good. Because to go back to Tony in a second, Dylan decided at one time, I was doing a show long time ago, and I know he's going to get a kick out of it, but he had come on. It was a kind of like a therapy show. It was two people out of the Caribbean. So here Dylan decides to come on and make a Larry profile, and then did a couple of comments. And so at the end of the show, when we signed off, the couple was like, "Oh, that was really nice about that Larry guy, wasn't it?" Here comes Dylan. He's calling me and giggling, like, "What's so funny?" He goes, "Hey, Larry says hello." I'm like, I should have figured it was Dylan. But anyways, that's why he says Larry says hello.
Dylan, go out and get some sun.
Yeah, exactly. But he's a great guy.
The adults are here. Go have fun on your own time.
Yeah. But my buddy, his wife was married to, and when I mean Beef, he was identical to Kukoc, where we went down. So we were at South Street. We went to Fat Tuesday just because we happened to be down there for dinner. And when he's laughing because I told the story, but yeah, I remember like it was freaking yesterday. So we walk in, and when I mean everybody stopped because they were like, "Wait a minute, why is Tony here? Shouldn't he be playing?" And I looked at my buddy's wife and said, "Listen, just whatever they say, just go with it. Leave it alone. Don't say anything else." And then this is before cell phones and everything else became super popular the way it is today. Yeah. So when he walked in, he never admitted that he was Tony. I would put that out there before anybody goes back in the archives and take a look. He never admitted, but he would just say, "Hey, how's it going? Yeah, my game wasn't too good. It was okay. I think I could play better." But he also never said he played in the NBA either. So that night, they decided they want to comp him a couple of drinks. So his wife comes over and says, "Angel, what do you think? Should he take the comp drinks?" I said, "Listen, that's on you guys. You guys make that call. I don't drink. So if you want to, hey, go ahead." I said, "Just tip him at the very end. They'll be just fine." So they did it. They comped a couple of drinks. And by the time he left the tip, it would have covered what the drinks would have been in the first place. But we walked out of there, and I don't know what it was. I don't know if people left and told people word of mouth. As we're walking down the steps from this place, it's everybody standing around, "Kukoc, Tony, Kukoc." And then there was people just taking pictures like, wow, I guess this is what celebrityism feels like. But yeah, it was a good night. We had fun with it.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough when you deal with stuff like that. Like I get tired of signing autographs, Brad Pitt. So, it's kind of hard. It is. It's rough. We have the same hair, Brad and I do. But yeah, we all have our burdens, our crosses to bear,
Yeah, we do.
There you go, baby.
I mean, it's a part of life. It's the way it is. You have to enjoy everything that's here. When you're gone, you don't take anything with you. I say it to my wife all the time. You enjoy the moment, and you can enjoy the past. No one's guaranteeing you the future. We don't know what's going to happen in a minute, 2 minutes, yet alone 5 hours from now. So you enjoy the moment and make the best of it. Even when dark clouds come out of nowhere, same thing. You make the best of it. You get frustrated because we don't like to see dark clouds, But eventually the sun's going to shine again, and you just keep it moving. So that's just the way it is. But you always just enjoy the moment, because I'm telling you, there's nothing worse than talking to somebody on the phone and to come to find out the next day when your friend calls you up and says, "Hey, did you know so and so died?" I'm like, "What are you talking about? I was just talking to him last night." So just enjoy each other, enjoy the moment, and yes, Dylan, the story never gets old, jackass.
So when you haven't achieved anything in your life and you pull a practical joke on somebody, that becomes a highlight of your life. So there you go.
Yeah, exactly.
We're trying to do things here. I get Bob Orr up on my wall telling me I'm his friend. So there you go. That
There you
tough
go.
that. And that other mural there, that Brady guy. Yeah, guess who sent me that? So there you go. So no, it's good. It is what it is. But yeah, that's a good point and lesson. You've had anybody close to you die. It sucks. It's never a good thing. One of my things that's happened with me with my own battle with depression and mental health is, a lot of my coaching friends and different people graduated and moved on and so forth. I mentioned Clemson baseball, my good buddy Eric Bakich, the hockey coach here was a dear friend of mine and only guy for 35 years who got let go. Other people, our president here at the university is a good friend of mine, President Ono. He's gone. All my guys from the football team. That's different. The football and baseball guys graduate, but it's just different. It was a big transition there for about 6 months period. I lost my buddy who's the quarterback, baseball coach, and the hockey coach, all gone. So like 3 people almost on a day-to-day basis I went and visit every day, at least one. So very interesting. And at the same time, this is vital, Angel.
Yeah.
Harris, my 7-Eleven guy, left.
Did he?
So he went to, that's the one I was telling you about, a couple when we were on Pete. He went to North Dakota, he and his wife.
Wow.
His wife was here. This is funny. His wife was here in grad school, and she got a job in North Dakota. And Harris like, oh man, we're gonna have to move. And he told his district manager from 7-Eleven, because he's the owner here of the store, said, I'm moving to North Dakota. They gave him a store in North Dakota. And I said, Harris, the Frosty the Snowman going to walk in at 3:00 in the morning and get lotto tickets? I mean, really? I'm in North Dakota. So yeah, but I guess it worked out good for him. I mean, I had his wife die, and I said, your Slurpee business is going to go way down. But so I mean, it's great. It's a good situation with good people. It works out for them. He's a good guy. I would just say to him, hey, get Gronk Energy, and literally he'd get 3 cases of it like 2 days later. It's like he was like Amazon, but he was running his store. It was crazy. I mean, it was just awesome. It was a great guy. Wish him and his wife well. Good people.
That's good when you connect with people like that, because again, we know there's stereotypes. Like,
Hey, you gotta be friends. When I say Harris,
right? Harris
is Indian, like India, not Tonto, like Indians.
Right.
So like India, like Gandhi. So yeah, he was great, really good guy, Mr. J, like like a Pooh from The Simpsons.
Oh,
so,
nice.
Yeah. So it was just a really good guy. I had a lot of fun, and I don't go in there as much as I did anymore. But yeah, I mean, they're great, and I busted his balls like the year before he left because they were closed on Christmas. Angel, I was half kidding and half serious. Harris, the reason why you own 7-Eleven is to be open on Christmas.
Yeah,
there's nothing else open. So it's like, Mr. J, I did not know what to do. I'm like, Harris, it's okay. Don't worry about it. But I would have liked to been able to get my apple fritter, but that's okay. You stayed home with your family. I suffered. That's okay. And he was sad. I'm like, Harris, I'm kidding. I'm messing with you. I went to the place across the street. Anyways, don't worry about it. They were open. See, I do this all the time. I have the ability. You don't know if I'm serious or kidding. I just have this ability. Yeah, and I said, but you know what, Harris, it's okay to forgive you, but man, that apple fritter from across the street was pretty good. And he looked at me. It looked at me like, I'm like, Harris, I'm kidding. Yeah. Scratch tickets too, Harris. A lot of
What
money. I
was the one?
spent a lot of money in there.
There was the one listener that we had for a couple of shows, and then he didn't know whether you were kidding or serious, and then he never came back, even after you told him he was kidding. But listen, you guys gotta learn how to love and enjoy beef.
I am from the same hometown as Jay Leno.
There you go.
And I grew up watching him and Bob Hope. And I'm going to be 54 in November. I grew up watching all of these great straight men: Burt Reynolds, Bob Hope, Don Rickles, Buddy Hackett. Buddy Hackett and Bob Hope used to do a lot of the U.S. Army and military go visit the troops.
Yeah.
And Bob Hope had the best joke of all time that would probably get him banned now, but because it's politically incorrect, but he's like beyond cancel culture.
Mm-hmm.
But Bob Hope used to joke. He told these military bases that I'm Jewish Arab. I want to kill myself. So there you go. So
he did a lot.
Bob Hope was awesome.
He did a
and
lot.
He was great friends with the Michigan football program because the All-American team he would do on his show. The holiday show he'd have all the All-American football players come on, and he and Coach Buckler were great friends, and he's just a good dude. We need more people like that in society, and we don't really have more like Kid Rock and other who's also very friendly. Toby Keith, who just passed away recently. More country rock and rock guys and actors, and there's not a lot of. I'm trying to think of who. Well, Gary Sinise. I'm sorry, Gary Sinise does a lot with military stuff and so forth, and obviously, indirectly, Tom Cruise. We were talking about this the other day with Pete. All the military shows he did. I mean, have you seen Mission Impossible, Angel?
I haven't seen a new one yet. Not the last one.
But you need to see the technology and the things that the Navy and the Air Force and the military gave Tom Cruise. You thought they gave him some stuff in Maverick. By the way, that Maverick was filmed in 2019. Mission Impossible was filmed starting in 20 during COVID. And that's when he started yelling at his crew for screwing around with the COVID rules, the famous audio that's out there. But no, it's cool to see. God bless our men and women in the military. Angel and I both veterans and so forth. But it's a crazy world out there. We see what's going on in Los Angeles and all around the world. Very few people in the world go out on their job every day and have the ability to not come home. And I think it's important, with police, fire, so forth, and anybody who's in an dangerous environment. I got friends and family all over the country who are involved in different forms. From my cousin's a police officer in Sarasota. He's a commander there. He's a big shot, and so many different guys. One of my longtime baseball and football teammates is a cop in my hometown, Andover, Peter. And I have a lot of other friends. And so Jack Dalton, he's a state trooper up in New Hampshire. So many other different friends and family that do different things in police. And it's never been harder to be a police officer and law enforcement because, everybody's got a phone and everybody thinks they're a lawyer. So there you go.
Yeah, that's so true. As you got it, God bless the men and women who do serve our country. As you mentioned, whether it's being and including the Coast Guard's cute. I don't really include them in there, but they're cute. They wear the red and white. They parade around a little bit. So, but no, to the men and women that who serve our country, regardless of whether it's local, state, our government. Thank you all for what you do because again, we get to do what we have here, which is have fun, enjoy ourselves. But no, getting to the nitty gritty of what is the NFL, as some have reported to mini camps before the actual thing kicks off next month. You have someone that kicked off, and then you have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers with Hassan Reddick, who reported to camp, has told the reporter that, he's here. Now, wonder why he reported to camp. Mind you, this is also the same guy that was with the Eagles and gave the Eagles a hard time, wanted to be there.
And the Jets.
Yep. Howie went way out of his way, made a great deal. And by the way, there is a blockbuster deal that could happen this summer with the Eagles. And when I mean that it could put Howie into the stratosphere, it could possibly put him up there. So stay tuned for that, folks. That one could be a possible.
Michael Parsons.
That's not blockbuster. That's it's Cowboy. We don't talk about high.
Is it offense or defensive player?
Possibly offensively. with the combo of the defense.
Travis Hunter?
No, I wish. Man, that would be a steal. That would be a big steal. But no.
So who's a two-way guy? Who's a two-way guy?
No,
Who's a two-way guy?
Not meaning a two-way
Oh,
guy. Meaning
oh.
one of one that could
So
possibly
who
happen.
would be? Well, they don't need a running back. They don't need a receiver. They don't need a quarterback.
Nope.
So defensive player, defensive front seven guy.
It's going to be good.
Trey Hendrickson? Trey Hendrickson?
I don't know. Maybe there's a bird somewhere in the attic. Possibly.
Trey Hendrickson.
Possibly.
By the way, listen, Angel. I don't think they're going to let him go. They're going to punish him. Look what they're doing with their first round draft pick.
Yep.
That's illegal what they're doing. All the contracts in the first round it's set. You could have Stevie Wonder as your agent and do the deal. They're slotted. They're screwing with the guaranteed money. That's like a violation of CBA. What are the Bengals doing? I mean, you don't need to have Matlock to figure this out.
Sure don't.
It's illegal. I mean, I'll check with Brad, but I don't think what they're doing is legal. It's a CBA. Everything's collectively bargained. Now, the rest of the draft picks are different after the first round. And you're seeing there's Trevion Henderson and some other guys who talked about this, where certain teams that have more cap space are fully guaranteeing the money. So that's what a lot of these things are going on. That's why you have so many of these second round picks that aren't being signed, because other teams are fully guaranteeing the money. Teams that are cheap and stupid, and the Bengals, of course, both are gonna screw this up and piss somebody up. But to not have Hendrickson or their first round draft pick in camp is embarrassing. And I mean, you see what they just did? The Jermaine Pratt asked to be traded in February, and they cut him yesterday, and he signed with the Raiders today.
Yep.
But the Bengals saved $500,000 cutting him. And you wonder why. I mean, how Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, and T. Higgins, and those guys are such great players, and T. Higgins is a little lesser player than those two. But let me let you know a secret. If Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow went to the market, we wouldn't have that big sale for him, Angel. They'd get paid by somebody.
Yeah.
Hell, your general manager might get rid of Jalen to pay Joe. So I mean, I just don't understand why they would be that stupid, cheap, and petty, and not, he's your defensive team captain. Trade the guy. Do him a favor. Do him a solid. And instead you wait 6 months and cut him. Now he's going to a good situation because I think the Raiders are going to be greatly improved, and they need linebackers. He's a good player. So I mean, you could do worse than going out there and playing Max Crosby. So it's just these stupid Mickey Mouse teams, and obviously you have like one of the 2 or 3 best GMs in the league, and Howie running your team, and I got Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell here running the Lions. And, the Patriots finally have, good people in place with Mike Vrabel and friends.
Yep.
Even though they already screwed their team up bringing Stephon Diggs and the pink drug bag in. But, it is what it is. But you can clearly tell what teams get it and don't. I mean, you just joked about the Cowboys. I mean, they've known they were going to pay Micah Parsons for 3 years. They keep overdoing it and extending it, and watch Trey Hendrickson will probably have a deal before they pay Micah Parsons, which will add another $10 million to his deal.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's because the Cowboys are cash poor and haven't generated any really new revenue in years because their stadium is new, but it's already kind of outdated, believe it or not, the Jerry Dome. So would you rather have Jerry's people running the team and the Eagles guys running the game, or Jason Light, who runs the Buccaneers, and there's a whole bunch of other guys, Les Snead and Sean McVay with the Rams, and then John Lynch with the 49ers. Now they screwed up Brandon Ayuk, but that's everybody has one of those at least. Who's the 3-name wide receiver guy you guys drafted a couple of years ago and got rid of that sucked? I'm talking about the receiver you drafted. You drafted him instead of like Justin Jefferson.
Oh, crap.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I know.
Ortega, something. Yes, yeah. They draft. Yeah, the Eagles. Now think about how good the Eagles are. Well, they drafted that guy, and then the Vikings sprinted up to the stage to take Justin Jefferson.
Sure did. And
So,
it's funny because Justin still asked, if he has any kind of animosity or anything else. He said no. And at one point, he hinted that he would still love to have been in Philadelphia. But I mean, listen, he's done really well in Minnesota. I think when J.J. McCarthy comes
and
back,
you guys ended up getting A.J. Brown.
Sure
Ended
did.
up trading and get A.J. Brown sooner, and then Vrabel left over that. So, but no, is it Ortega-Whiteside?
Ortega-Whiteside.
Yeah, yes, there you go. So, yeah, they draft overthinking things and just, like the one draft in 2019 where literally every wide receiver who was drafted was good, and the Patriots drafted him to kill fucking Harry, who couldn't play dead in the Western, and he's just good at. I mean, say his name. You want to get Pete pissed? Say his name to Pete in the morning.
Pete cracked me up because he almost, but minus the win, yes, because of Rowan Anthony. But before that, like last week, you were on, I think that Tuesday. As a matter of fact, in that Thursday when he went ballistic about the Red Sox and how bad they were, then I had to calm him down on Friday. I told him, listen, Pete, I spoke with Alex Cora. We had a good conversation last night, and I told him he's going to win the next 9 out of 10. Now, of course, that's all hypothetical because they've lost 2 out of 3 already. So the winning the 9 out of 10 is not going to happen. But, it's you never know. Things can happen for the Red Sox. But no, I think for with Justin Jefferson, Minnesota Vikings are going to be just fine. And truthfully, they're now the Commanders and the way they're getting themselves set up, and they did a lot of good during the offseason.
They're going to pay McLaren, though. He's their second best player.
Yep, they're going to have to pay him. But right now, the only thing that kind of gets me a little bit is we've all seen just about every quarterback. Maybe Hurts, maybe Patrick Mahomes might be the exception to the rule. But as far as the sophomore slump, it has happened. We have what's our Texans quarterback there?
Say it again.
Who's our Texans quarterback?
C.J. Stroud.
Yeah, he had a slump in his sophomore year, but
because the old line sucked. The old line sucked around them.
Right. So that's the only reason why. But you take a look at what the Commanders are going to do. I wish they would go back to the Redskins. I hate the Commanders thing. They need to go back to the Redskins. But
aren't they talking about doing that? I know you're close personal friends, the owner of the team. So
yeah, we're super close. I can't stand a clown after freaking basically.
Okay. So let's settle a bet here. Okay. You can take out one of the two, Sirianni or the Commanders guy.
Commanders. Goodbye. See you later.
Wow, Sirianni's like, see, I did good.
Yeah, for now.
Good.
For now, that blow dart isn't that far away though. I just got the one I can use for a month. And
Sirianni starts 1-3. His ass is on the chopping block. So,
nah, he won't.
No,
he won't because
their team's good.
Yeah.
And by the way, my buddy is now your quarterback's coach, Scotty Loeffler. I talked about that yesterday. He left. He was the Bowling Green head coach, and he quit being Bowling Green's head coach to be your quarterback's coach for the Eagles. It's Scotty Loeffler. It's one of Tom Brady's best friends. Really was the quarterback's coaches. Was like a student quarterback's coach, and then became a head coach and coordinator for a whole bunch of different people, including Urban Meyer. He was Tim Tebow's quarterback's coach. Urban and Tebow's last year together.
Wasn't somebody last year talking about like Urban Meyer too? Something about bringing him back into the NFL, and no one ended up picking him back up.
Well, he's too busy crippling his kicker by kicking him. Urban. Nobody's going to bring Urban Meyer back. He's one of the worst coaches. He's one of the worst head coaches ever in history. And there's a million guys that are really great college coaches. Spurrier was like that. Urban is a great college coach, and he's very good on TV, by the way.
Sure is.
We like Ryan Day where he is, so we'd like him to stay and get him hey, they won the Natty, give him another 7-year contract, and he'll have a 0 and 7 next to his name pretty soon we're similar with the 4-0 next to his name. So
yeah, that's true.
Ryan is so happy he won that Natty, but guess what he gets asked about every day of his life, and he's going to get asked about every day of his life till he fixes it. So you can figure out what I'm talking about. Ohio State didn't beat Michigan.
Yep. Duncan Ned says Josh Harris is a walking conflict of interest. Sixers, Devils,
Yes.
Commanders, pick something.
Yes.
Right? That's what I'm telling. I can't stand the dude. I really can't. I thought when he came to Philly, it was going to be like a fresh mindset. I'm like, all right, he really, really cares about this organization. And then became the debacle. The Sixers play on Market Street are going to do. So then they get approved. The mayor goes out of her way, Cheryl Parker, to make this happen. And then he says, you know what? Now we're just going to stay in South Philly. We're just going to get, do what we got to do over there with the, it's not the Wells anymore. What is it? T-Mobile? Talking Dad, what's the new one? T-Mobile something, not T-Mobile. Verizon? I don't know. One of them selling
I think
carriers.
it's Verizon. I think it's Verizon.
Yeah.
And just got to be excited, though, Angel. You get about 9 more years of Embiid. So there you go.
Yeah, screw him too, that clown. Good point, Duncan. Dad. Is Harris worse than Colangelo? Xfinity, that's what it's going to be. Xfinity Stadium. But
by the way, are you guys excited about Rick Tocchet? You should be excited about Rick Tocchet. I love Rick Tocchet.
No.
Why?
No.
You're not excited for the Flyers?
What are you doing in Carolina?
Well, no. He was in Vancouver. Brenda Moore. You're confusing future Flyers legends. Brenda Moore was the Carolina coach.
True. My
and good thing he's got a good head coaching job because he went to Michigan State. So, which means you probably can't read and write. So, no, you should be excited about Rick Tocchet.
I am. Yes, I did have him confused because I was Pete. Matter of fact, Pete said
you got nothing going on in your life, Angel. I mean, how can you don't sit around like me all night in your underwear watching hockey games? I mean, what's wrong with you?
I wish. Listen, I'm like Marty McFly. I've got channel 1027, 56, and 69, and whatever else going on at the same time, and trying to balance all this crazy stuff. So no, but I forgot. No, I am excited about Rick Tocchet. And then what's his name? Jesus Christ. Why am I throwing so many brain farts tonight? Our former coach got fired, is now with Seattle with their first ever women's hockey league. You got fired and then got picked up just that quick.
Not Torts.
Yeah.
Torts?
Yep.
Torts coaching women?
Yepers.
That's not going to go over well. Torts is hard on men. I mean, I love Torts. So, I mean, just some of the best challenging reporters to fights and stuff. He's nuts. I love Torts.
He is, but
he's a couple croutons short of salad, my man. But yeah,
Torts.
Yeah, see. I mean, that's just a bad idea.
Hey,
you know who Torts is a lot like. And here's a name for you from the past, Angel. Mike Keenan.
Ooh, yeah.
They're very similar guys.
True.
Very aggressive coaches. They're very tough. They're not there to be your friend. That's funny that Torts is going to be coaching women.
Yippers. If I remember correctly, that was a statement that was not too long ago where it was posted up there. And
and they drafted Hillary Knight.
Yeah.
They drafted Hillary Knight, who's my favorite player. So there you go. See, that's why you come to Beavs World. Women's professional ice hockey updates. That's why you come on Beavs World. That's what you never know what Angel and I are going to talk about.
That's true. That's why it's a variety and a plethora.
Stanley Cup champion Mike Keenan. Let's see, Duncan, where did he win the Stanley Cup?
For the bonus? Yeah, let's see. He'll
know this.
No Googling.
And there's about 7 Hall of Famers on that team.
Yeah, can't Google. Speaking of, paging.
Okay. The best part is Duncan. You know who she's married to?
Rangers 94.
Okay, see if you know who Kimmy Granato's married to.
That's a good question. I don't even know that one personally.
Somebody if you've been watching the Stanley Cup playoffs, you've seen him on TV.
Oh, Wayne Gretzky.
No, he's married to Janet Jones.
I know. I was trying to throw myself.
Now you're being a smart ass, Angel. Ray Ferraro. Kimmy Granato's married to Ray Ferraro, if you didn't know that.
Sure didn't. Not at all.
There you go. And there you go. Good job, Duncan. There you go, Duncan.
Yeah.
Duncan, you're allowed back on my show. Good job. Okay. Now, Duncan, I'm going to show off now. Name me 5 of the Hall of Famers who are on the 94 Rangers.
No Googling. Once again.
No Googling. It's easy. Yeah. It's not hard.
Nah.
Start with the number one center, the defenseman, and goalie, and then you'll find two others.
Oh, can I?
It's easy. It's not hard.
No, I was going to say a name, but I can't say it on air. As far as somewhere where I went.
I'll do numbers for you. 11, 35, 2, 9, 11, 32. 11, 35, and 2. Number 4 and number 21. There's like 9 guys on that team that are all in the Hall of Fame. That at least played on that team. There's one guy who has 700 goals. Adam Graves is not in the Hall of Fame. Wrong, Duncan Dad. You're out. The other number 9 on that team used to play with Messier a lot in Edmonton.
So
First name is Glenn Anderson.
I was going to say Glenn Campbell.
Okay, Tammy, why not? and Tanya Tucker. Tanya Tucker.
By the way,
Tanya Tucker.
You know how you were mentioned before about guys, and you were mentioning Bob Hope and artists who have done stuff in the military. You know who passed away, speaking of, who also helped some of the guys out in the military. The last member of the Beach Boys.
Oh, Mr. Wilson. Yeah, he just died.
Yeah.
So to help Duncan Dad out, you got Leach, that's number 2, Messier, number 11, Richter's 35, Kevin Lowe, number 4. Mike Gartner was on that team beginning of the year. They traded him at the deadline. Glenn Anderson, who I'm talking about. So that's 7. Sergei Zubov. That's 9. That's 8. And then 9. Let me come up with another guy. I think Tony Amonte's close. Esa Tikkanen. Going through their team. Oh, Steve Larmer. That team was so loaded. They had a lot of really good players on that team. And when you have 3 only 6 defensemen play. You have 3 of them that are Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
And that's a pretty good thing. Pretty good thing to have. And I love Adam Graves, but he's not in the Hall of Fame. And he was the first, I believe he's the second Ranger ever to score 50 goals in a season. And that was in 94 he did it. After, oh my God, the guy who played, he was on the goal a game line with John Rattel and Rod Gilbert. Oh my God. And he was like Adam Graves. He was a tough guy. He was on the 72 Canada Cup team too. Oh my God, I'm forgetting the guy's name.
Yep.
Vic Hadfield. Vic Hadfield. That's who it is.
Yeah. That I definitely going to help you out on that one. The only thing I can help you out is the Flyers are going to be eliminated from Lord Stanley because they have not had a Stanley Cup win since the 60s, and their name will be just gone.
No, they were 1 in 75 with the Bobby Clark team. That was their back-to-back years they won, and then they haven't won since.
Right, and that's what I mean. Well,
they screwed their team up with Lindros.
Yeah,
and then Mike Richards and Jeff Carter, the off-the-field stuff.
How in the world could you possibly have where your mom is dictating everything that you should be doing to the Flyers, and then the Flyers were listening, like, oh, you know what, you're right.
Well, particularly when the head coach, the general manager is Bobby Clark.
Yeah.
You're equivalent to having me as your boss. I don't tolerate much bullshit. So, yeah, and remember that they stripped his captaincy away because he blamed the trainers for getting hurt.
Sure did.
And then they got rid of him. Yeah, that was an interesting group with John LeClaire and Desjardins and Michael Renberg, the Legion of Boom. That was a great. That was a fun team. And Brendan Moore, Dale Hawerchuk.
Sure was.
Vlad Konstantinov broke Hawerchuk's arm in the last game of the Stanley Cup Finals. That hit at center ice, and Hawerchuk's like my favorite player.
It's good.
I don't know. Well, okay, Duncan Dad. Think about how was the Legion of Boom formed? That line. Do you remember how they got John LeClaire and Eric Desjardins? They traded Mark Recchi for both of those guys, and they also traded for Michael Renberg. So that was a really good team. You know what? The Flyers team didn't win the Stanley Cup. They ran into a Red Wings team with about 10 Hall of Famers on it.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, Hextall got to the Stanley Cup Finals and they lost. But I mean, you lost to a team that had about 10 Hall of Famers on it, the Red Wings.
But then you turn around at the same time they were getting dismantled. Then you had them go over to what was considered the LA Kings West, basically
Yeah,
Flyers West.
Mike Richards, and Jeff Carter. They got traded for off the field stuff.
Sure did.
I
And
mean,
then they
it's
go over there
not
and win a freaking Stanley Cup. Ridiculous.
well. But it's I mean, I'm going to try to be nice here. If you're the team captain, you can't be involved in the things those guys were involved in.
I know.
That's kind of a negative thing. And trust me, I'm friends with a guy who used to play with a guy who was shooting people in the back of the head. So, and he was a pretty good leader. And he had a guy on his team killing people. So you can't, babysit these guys. You wish they were adults. I'm wearing a Mets shirt. Think about how much better the Mets would have been if Darryl Strawberry and Keith Hernandez. I mean, not Darryl Strawberry and Dwight Gooden were clean. I mean, it's funny. I just fraudulently slipped and said Keith Hernandez. Keith Hernandez got traded to the Mets as punishment by Whitey Herzog because he was involved in things in St. Louis that he shouldn't have been. So, it's Lenny Dykstra was another one, yeah. But Lenny Dykstra wasn't the talented Dwight Gooden and Darryl Strawberry were.
Right.
Yeah.
And
I mean, you never know. No, you never know what's going on with teams, and that's why, I mentioned Rod Brindamore. Check out why he got traded by the Flyers.
there's things that the Flyers.
I mean, you know that story.
Yeah, but
You know that Angel, the bigger star in his team, and he and his wife had something going on.
Yeah.
So yeah, that type of stuff happens. I mean, there's the Dennis Eckersley, Rick Manning story from the 70s.
Somebody.
Rick Manning was the center fielder on the Indians with Dennis Eckersley and stole his wife. And that's why the Indians traded Dennis Eckersley.
But there was
then
wasn't there
the two guys on the Yankees in the 60s, that traded wives. The Yankees, two guys in the Yankees in the 60s, I believe, did that.
It's true. But there was, I could have sworn there was somebody recent too, that minus the one with the college kid that they I guess they debunked that one where supposedly his dad was with his girlfriend, whatever it was. I think they where
McAfee said it. Yes, I know what you're talking about. Yes. That's the thing. You got to be careful with social media and what you believe is real and not real, and just stay out of the riffraff stuff.
Yeah.
And I deal with this bullshit all the time, particularly when Tommy was playing. You never know what's going on in somebody's personal lives and so forth. So, I mean, it is what it is. But, I'm sorry about the sun. The reflection of my apartment's coming in. I'm more white than I could be humanly possible. Jim Lefebvre. There you go. But no, it is what it is, and what can you do? But these guys all have personal lives. We talk about that a lot. So, I mean, you never know what's going on.
Yeah, we do. We've got about 15 minutes here left to the program as the Talking to Hoops is moving up their time tonight because obviously the NBA finals are going on. So they want to make sure they come on just before the finals kick off as they did last week. And then next Wednesday, they will go back to their normal startup time, which is 8 Eastern, 7 Central. But
and Angel, obviously, starting next week, I'll be Monday and Wednesday back to the good old days when we're off. Well, football and baseball, hockey, whatever else is going on in the world. You and I can discuss life like we've been doing here the last hour.
Exactly.
So there you
go. Tongue in that, hold on. He says, "What's worse, Eck losing his wife or Beatles trading wives?" Oof.
Well, if you're involving anybody who ends up with Yoko Ono loses. So that's the whole thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You bring up now. Duncan Dad just brought up something. I saw the documentary of was it John Wayne Gacy who shot? That was
yeah. Well, no, John Hinckley. John Hinckley's the guy who shot President Reagan.
Right, correct. But who was that? I forgot the other guys. Anyways,
who shot Lennon? Who shot John Lennon?
Yeah,
it was Mark Chapman.
That's what it was. I don't know where the hell I got John Wayne Gacy before. Anyways, I'm going.
Oh, he's another serial killer guy.
Yeah, but anyways.
So Angel, let me tell you my John Lennon assassination story.
Okay.
The Patriots were playing the Dolphins on Monday Night Football, and That's how a lot of people learned, because Howard Cosell came on and did and broke the news. Because remember, there was no internet and
Correct.
things were just different back then, and he broke the news. And yeah, that was a crazy, crazy story. No, the crazy part of that story is earlier in the day, John Lennon signed an autograph for the guy who killed him.
I know that, and that's what I
Isn't
mean.
that crazy? Isn't that
Yeah,
crazy?
and it was from the book Catcher in the Rye. He said it was speaking to him that he had these problems, and then after having all the problems, he went and got help, and then the place where he got help enjoyed him so much they gave him a job, and then he felt that they didn't need him anymore, and so he started going crazy again. They told him he had to leave, and then he moved, and then he was reading Catcher in the Rye, and then that's when he felt like he had to kill John Lennon. I'm like, what on God's green earth? And lo and behold, the guy he found him. Today it's different, but back in the day,
Yeah.
it was really, really hard if you wanted to find out exactly where a person was, unless you just happened to run into him. But somebody told him, here's where he lives, and he went out there,
The
put
Dakota,
the
Dakota
album,
building, yeah.
yeah, put the album on the building, and then he saw John Lennon. And he said he couldn't do it. He had the revolver in his pocket, and that he signed, the album. So he went home the night thinking about it, and then he comes back and the next day and basically freaking shoots him. I don't understand. Now, granted, I served in the military. Way different when you're in war. I personally could not walk up to somebody and say, "Listen, I was just sent to shoot you, pal. You're dead." There's no freaking way. But he just felt like that's what he had to do. That was his mission. But I felt bad for. And John he was trying to get away from the limelight and everything else, and just living a normal life. And he absolutely loved New York.
And
Unfortunately,
they were getting ready. They were getting ready close. You've seen the story about this where Lorne Michaels from Saturday Night Live gave the check to Paul McCartney to try to bring the Beatles back. And that was going to happen. They were going to get back together again because of Lorne Michaels. And there's video, you'll find this out. It's out there. And they would have got back together again. The four original members of the Beatles would have got together, the classic lineup. They would have got back together again and done it. And it was a crazy time in music at the time. And you think about it, where Bon Scott and John Bonham died,
right?
And Keith Moon. So you have two drummers in two of the biggest bands in the world, Led Zeppelin and The Who. Bon Scott, the lead singer of AC/DC, and Ozzy Osbourne and Black Sabbath are going through all these problems. So if you're wondering you need to understand why things called the Village People exist, those four things that just happened. That's why music got crazy. We ended up with the Village People and the Bee Gees and some of the worst music in the history of music becoming the biggest thing ever happened because of all these four catastrophes happening in music at one time.
Gee, I keep saying we're going to talk about football, but then you bring up something else, which brings up something else in my mind.
Okay, go to football. Hit me up with some football. Let's go. Football.
Well, hang on here for a second. Did you know how the Village People was formed?
Can you find the guy who did it so I can go kill him? I'm kidding. I'm kidding. No. I think I've heard this story. But go ahead, Angel. Let's hear the story.
The lead singer was the only one that actually sang in the band. What ended up happening was, I guess he used to do Broadway and other things beforehand, but ended up having a really good voice. Well, they said they needed to figure out, because they couldn't put him out there by himself, and because they were on Broadway, they were like, hey, what do you think if we go to the Villages? Now, of course, not the Villages, very popular here in Ocala, Florida. Not those Villages, but the one in New York. So when they went in there...
Greenwich Village or any other village, yes.
Correct. So they went in there, ended up going to a gay bar at the Villages, and then here were these guys that were there. And then basically the manager was like, yep, you know what? Those four guys will do right there. So the costumes were from the guys performing that night in the bar. So when they put them all together, they just lip sync the actual music. They were basically the Milli Vanilli before Milli Vanilli.
Milli Vanilli. So the one singer is the black guy, the singer.
Yeah, he was the only singer in the entire band of the Village People. It's nuts. I couldn't
ruined what's left of my night with ball busting about the Village People, Angel. What a disgrace you are. What a disgrace.
As Duncan has hashtag the Village Voice.
Anytime you can bring up Milli Vanilli, that's a good thing.
It is a good thing. It's always a good thing. But getting the
There you
football
go.
show ends because I know we
Yep.
do. This is why we go through every single topic under the sun. But getting back to football here, so you look at Hassan Reddick, who says that he wants to, according to him, he says that he wants to make sure he can perform at his best because he's looking to extend his contract with the Bucks after the end of the season. Okay, and that's all
How
fine and
long
well.
did it take him to say his favorite 5-letter word, money? Was it like 10 seconds into what he said, or was it casual how he did it?
Mm,
And was Coach Bowles behind him with his arms folded, looking
no,
like a scolding parent?
no, he
All right.
wasn't around. So it was mentioned. I would say probably the sixth, seventh word in. But
Well, I'm not surprised. I would have if you had the over under at 10, you should have taken the under. So good job. Um, he's a mercenary player. He's a lot like Jadeveon Clowney, who I don't think he's on a team right now, or is he?
I don't think
Um,
so.
so you have to be aware of what this guy is. Um, he would have. I mean, he'd be great for the Lions. Again, but you need a coach who would either scare the shit out of him or beat the shit out of him. And Dan Campbell is, of course, both.
Mhm.
So, and Todd Bowles really is both too, by the way. Um, but no, he's a good. But again, Duncan's right, and he was able to be a pain in the ass on the Jets. He was fine on the Eagles, as far as I know. Angel was he was okay, right? There wasn't problems on the Eagles, was it? Were there? With your buddy
Uh,
Sirianni in charge, of course. I mean, who dare challenges him? Uh,
little,
I mean, and he's not going to mouth off on the Buccaneers, who have a great general manager, great owner, head coach every respects, and Baker Mayfield, Mike Evans, Vita Vea, Levante David. They have a really tight ship there. So if he steps out of line, I mean, look what happened when Antonio Brown acted a fool.
yeah,
I mean, by the way, did you see his tweet at Gavin Newsom?
yeah, yeah. Yipper.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Just if you need to just research that. I don't even need to go any further. Yeah, I mean, yeah. And Duncan Dad's right. He's like JV Dwight Freeney. He's there to get pass rush and sacks, and there's value in that in the NFL. You get double digit sacks, you're going to get paid unless you play for the Cincinnati Bengals. Um, so no, it's an interesting situation. Hassan, again, if you're on a 1-year contract, it's in your best interest to behave, and it's part of what Stephon Diggs is as big as dumb as he is. He pissed Vrabel off, and Vrabel sent the Vrabel signal, and he showed up and was he's at camp, so that's good. No, see, that AB, not a waste of talent, just a waste of a human being. The guy's a great football player. Again, it's like I say this all the time. You can be really good at sports or anything in life. You can be a great cook. You can be a great scientist. You can be a great politician. If you're a shitty human being, what good are you? I mean, I'm not the most talented guy in the world, but I'll show up, work hard, and if you like me or not, I don't care. But when Angel, when I tell you I'm going to be here at 6 o'clock, and if I'm not here at 6 o'clock, what are you thinking if I'm not here?
Something
Jesus
happened.
Christ, aliens kidnapped him or something.
Yep.
Because I'm reliable. I'm dependable. Usually, you know what's going on.
Exactly.
Diggs, Diggs is Diggs is what is he on his fifth team, and
Uh,
he's like 30 years old and he's good. I mean, that should tell you something.
it
I
should. But
mean,
see, my thing is, if you get an opportunity with another team, then straighten up whatever you failed in before. Be that leader that you need to be, and I hope that's what Hassan Reddick is going to do with the Bucks. Because I mean, you have a great leader in Baker Mayfield. You have great core wide receivers. You had a good run. I mean, that team overall is stacked really nice. So don't go in there and try to shake up the tree when all they've been trying to do is trying to get to that third Super Bowl after Tom Brady won their second one. So yeah, hopefully he'll do well. But then, the same way you got Atlanta and Kirk Cousins. Supposedly Pittsburgh was going to go that route. Then
well,
they
I mean, the Kirk Cousins situation is contractual and money,
right.
and what's going to have to happen? He's going to have to be the Sam Darnold of this season, where somebody gets hurt and he gets moved there to come in, because it doesn't make sense for Atlanta. Now they got they're starting quarterbacks on a rookie deal. So but he's a high draft pick. So they have like almost $50 million tied up in two quarterbacks, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's not feasible. You can't do that.
You
I mean,
can't.
it's not. You can't do that in today's NFL. I mean, that's back in the day. You would not have Steve Young and Joe Montana together. You just couldn't do that, and that's why the Patriots moved off Bledsoe when Tommy came on. You're not going to have um, that type of thing. It was crazy. Yeah, I mean, Kirk Cousins is a slave to the CBA, and again, it's when I was talking about the Bengals, contractual language. Um, yeah, JJ is going to stay healthy. JJ, listen, don't worry about JJ. I mean, I'm not worried about JJ. Basically, you're asking him to be Sam Darnold,
Right.
and Sam Darnold was a good starting quarterback last year. They have a really good team. Coach Flores does a great job with their defense, and
Mm-hmm.
Kevin O.C. is one of the best young coaches in the league. Another good offseason, another good draft, and JJ will come in there and win. JJ every level he's been has won. So, and listen again, I tell this story all the time. Cade McNamara was like my son, and that's who JJ replaced here in Michigan. So I had every reason not to like JJ McCarthy. But the more I was around JJ and the more I'd visit him, he gave me more reason to like him. I mean, I tell the story all the time where Cade tore up his knee, and I go and visit with the players after the game over at the stadium, at the facility, at the where the tailgate and everything. And the guy who was there, who's concerned about me and making sure I'm okay because of Cade being hurt, is JJ McCarthy. Now remember, I went through the Tom Brady, Drew Henson thing 25 years ago,
Right.
roughly almost the exact same time, and I did not handle that well. I was an asshole because it wasn't Drew Henson's fault what was going on. It wasn't Tommy's fault what was going on. It wasn't really Lloyd's fault either. It was just in the situation. It was too good. You had two really good quarterbacks. One of them has the option to go play baseball. I mean, in today's college, it probably wouldn't happen because one of them definitely will. Probably Tommy. So, but no, it's a learning experience. It's a personal growth thing for me. But no, don't worry about JJ. JJ is going to be really good.
Yeah. I think so. Road trip to Ann Arbor 2025. We're coming. Yeah.
I'm 2 blocks away. I'm 2 blocks away from the stadium.
Yeah. Well, Duncan Dad doesn't know that. I know it, but he doesn't know it. But yeah, road trip time. That's true.
Yeah.
That will definitely happen. But all right, we got about a minute or so before, and whatever we
Okay.
didn't
So, Angel, real quick before we go, I know it's what is it, June 11th or 12th today?
11th.
The number one threat in the NFC to the Eagles is
Detroit.
wow. Okay.
Detroit. And I'm sticking with it. Even though the Redskins run a super close second, but still Detroit. I think Dan Campbell crew are going to come up with such visceral.
People are sleeping on them, and I like that. And I think Dan will use that. I think they're not being talked about. I think the Rams are scary, particularly if Devontae Adams is as good as I think he's going to be.
Yeah.
I'll give you a dark horse team that I think is going to be pretty good. I think Arizona's going to be pretty good.
What?
I also really trust. Just
Oh boy.
I know I'm going to rue the day I did this. By the way, go look at what Marvin Harrison looks like. I'm higher in Kyler Murray. I like the Buccaneers a lot.
Yeah.
I do. I like their team a lot. I like Coach Bowles, and I like their team. They blew that game against Washington last year, almost like the Lions did.
Yeah.
But I mean, they blew that game like the Lions just completely no-showed. Well, I mean, we'll see, Duncan Dad. You don't see that far down the field. Wait till you go see what Marvin Harrison looks like now. I mean, he looks like Terrell Owens before he lost his marbles. But no, it's interesting. So the Lions, my Detroit friends will like that you said that. That was it's not what I expected. Good job, Angel. It's good to be back with you, buddy. I'm glad things worked out and they didn't break us up. People were wondering if which one of us did Paul Orndorff to Hulk Hogan here. It wasn't. We didn't do that. Angel would have got me up with the pile driver and dropped me on my head and doing the fake ear thing like Orndorff did.
Sure.
Was the best turn of all time. No, it's good to be back. We're gonna have a lot of good stuff here coming with the NFL and college football, and football drives the bus, but Angel and I have fun, and Pete and everybody, and we're ready to go. So fired up to be back with the Coastal Network, and everything's good. Mr. Wonderful, yes, Paula, type in, you want to laugh, type in Rudy Diamond, Paul Orndorff, or Rudy Diamond is a jobber wrestler. He showed up with a Paula shirt, and
Jeez.
Paul Orndorff beat him up so bad. Yeah, it's a jobber wrestler, almost like Frank Williams on Piper's Pit is another one. Frank Williams on Piper's Pit. Angel clearly knows what that one is.
Yeah.
Frank, have you ever won a match? No. I mean, have you ever lost a match, Frank? Yes, I've lost many matches. Frank, I see you wrestle, and you don't have a lot of courage. And what are you talking about me, man? And Piper beats the shit out of him. It's hilarious. It's almost as bad. Yeah, Jim Everett, yes. Jim Everett, Jim Rome. There you go. Okay, Chris. And then it's just going to look on Rome's face. Okay, it's good to go, Angel. Go watch your Phillies. The Phillies I think were playing earlier today, right? Or they playing now?
Yeah, they won earlier, 7-2.
There you go. My team's on now, so we got to go watch my Mets.
Yep.
So there you go, baby. But talk soon, buddy, and have a good rest of your week. Everybody, thanks for listening and tuning in. Be back Monday and Wednesday, and of course, I'll be on with Pete, and we'll fill in whatever he wants. And Duncan is trying to still recover from his wrong answer with Adam Graves, but there you go.
Sure is.
Duncan, that's your new name with me. Your new name is Adam Graves, so there you go.
There you go.
By the way, he's like the community relations guy for the Rangers now. Adam is.
True.
And his dad was a police sergeant, I believe, in Canada. I love Adam Graves.
He was a Mountie.
He's just not in the Hall of Fame, Pete. No, I think he wasn't a Mountie. He was a regular cop in Canada.
Okay.
Angel, talk to you later, buddy. Good to be back.
Yep, same here. Everybody enjoy Talking Hoops coming up right after this.
Thanks, Angel.